Hi guys, Ashantin here. Welcome to this introduction video, which is giving you some information about the Banished Challenge. Now, I thought I'd start with what is the Banished Challenge, because most people know Banished as a game where you have a limited number of resources. Your task is to grow the resources. It is basically a building and resource management game. I find it a very fascinating game. It's not normally a game in which people play on the same server or compete. Now, the Banished Challenge is not played on the same server. It is a building game. Obviously, it's for people who play Banished Colonial Charter, and it is timed gameplay. People play individually and then they compare their results. So basically we will play for a certain set time, then we compare the result, and depending on what the target is, we will decide who is the winner. In fact, One Last Midnight will. Now, this is all hosted by a YouTuber called One Last Midnight. He's a very good Banished player. He's the driving force behind this channel. He set up the rules, and down below I've put links to all his videos about this. What are the rules of this challenge? For a start, we all have to have the same map. So One Last Midnight has put together a map for us. He's going to send us one game file. We have to then put that into our own Banished files. And we are honor bound not to look at this until we actually start playing. Now, One Last Midnight is a fairly mischievous guy. So we are all sort of quaking in our boots as to what he might give us. I understand that he has played the map with the settings he's set up, and he's only ever got 2 hours in, which, given this is a 4-hour challenge, is pretty interesting. The game format is Colonial Charter 1.71 mod only, which means you're not allowed to add anything extra, but also the game format is that you have to have disasters on. Now, disasters are crop plagues, human plagues, fire, and the most frightening of all, tornadoes that can come and wipe you out. The game length is 4 hours. You are only allowed 4 hours of gameplay. At the moment I'm trying to set up a timer so that everyone can see that I've gameplayed for only 4 hours. We're instructed to divide that into 8 videos of half an hour each. Now, I can't think that I'm going to get to a very good split on this, because I want to split the recordings up. I don't want to have to cut the whole thing. I can, but it would be easy for me to split it up. So I may find that I've got 25 minutes in one and 31 minutes in another, but I'm going to do my best on this. I'm not the most fantastic at video editing. I think as long as I don't cheat on the game length and I've got a timer running and people can see that I've played for exactly the right time, they're not going to worry about the length of the videos. Obviously, if you want to make introductions, intros, outros, whatever they have, then that's fine, but the actual gameplay length is only 4 hours. Now, we have a forced game speed, and that is that the first 5 minutes have to be played at ×2. That's quite a slow speed. It's quite a good thing. Gives us all a chance to think. The majority of the game would be played at speed 5. If you last, that's a big if, guys, to the towards the end of the 4 hours, the last 30 minutes can be played at speed 10. Now, you are allowed within those play speeds, and I put it next to it, you're allowed tactical pauses. You are allowed a pause at the start of the game. So the first 5 minutes before you go to ×2 would be, you know, the pause where you sort of look at the map and think, what has he done to us? How am I going to manage this? You can take a pause when you move up to speed 5, and you can take another pause when you move to 10 if you want to. You don't have to take the pauses. If you do pause, the maximum length of a pause is 5 minutes. I'm not quite sure what happens if a disaster comes through, because normally whenever a disaster hits, the actual game speed slows down. Now, we're still trying to establish what happens with that, but we are finessing the finer detail of these rules at the moment. Going back to point 5, there are restricted professions. We're not allowed farmers in the first 5 years. So that's real farmers, so you can't have those. So even if you're given a seed, you can't use it for the first 5 years. No teachers for the first 10 years, and frankly I find it difficult to get a teacher in before 10 years anyway. And then no doctors within the first 15 years. Now, doctors includes apothecaries, herbalists, herb growers, basically anybody with medical knowledge. So we are basically an ignorant, rather primitive society. We are also xenophobic, so we are not allowed nomads. So if you get all but 2 of your population wiped out, that's what you've got to work with. You can't take on any nomads. The losing conditions are colony death, and that is, I mean, the one I'm most afraid of is the tornado. But remember, without doctors and hospitals, I mean, you can have a hospital, but you can't put a doctor in it, then there is no medical assistance at all. So if your colony dies, it dies. You can't restart. You can't say, oh, I'm halfway in, I'm 20 minutes in, I'll restart it, but stick to the same time scale. If your colony dies, that's it. And also, you can choose to forfeit it. Frankly, if it's all too much for you, or you lose your temper and think, I have had enough of this, and believe me guys, I've deleted many swear words thinking of this one, then you just say, that's it, I give up. And there is only one winning condition, and that is the highest population. So this tells me 2 things. It's not going to look pretty, and for that to be the only winning condition, it's going to be an extremely harsh map with harsh conditions, and this is going to be a very, very difficult challenge. So guys, who has volunteered for this challenge? Some of the people on the screen played last year and some are new to it. Our host is One Last Midnight. Also joining us are Alt4, BU4U, Endochick, me, Kendi64, Night Ghost 49, who's a very, very famous Banished player, the Haggard Nerd, who is the Iranian champion, X-Roby, the Double E Show, also known as Gibber, Penkitten82, Hell DM, Murphy Plays, and the Headless Chicken. And yes, that is spelt correctly. That is how his name is spelt. I have put links to all their sites down below. So guys, the other thing that we are set to do as part of the whole challenge is to upload videos to a timetable. Now, we are going to start releasing our videos on September the 16th at high noon. That's central in America, and that's 6 p.m. on British Standard Time. And then every 2 days, so September the 16th, 18th, 20th, 22nd, 24th, 26th, 28th, we'll be releasing videos. The final videos will be released on October the 1st. And the last screen that you have to put up is a screen showing what population you got to. So basically the judging will be on October the 1st, and the one with the highest population who does not forfeit it by getting the rules wrong, which I think that might be my case, doing something they shouldn't, you know, all these things may happen. But anyone who hasn't forfeited it by not sticking to the rules and the conditions, basically highest population will win. So none of us will know until then who's won. And the final rule we have to stick to is that before October the 1st, nobody talks about it. Finally, an absolutely huge thank you to One Last Midnight. He is the driving force behind this. He's put the whole challenge together, he's thought it through, he has been endlessly patient with some of the tedious inquiries we've put to him. And setting up this sort of challenge takes a lot of hard work. I can't imagine the number of hours he has spent on this. So a huge, huge thank you to One Last Midnight. And so guys, I will see you in the challenge. Bye bye.